I would say it will probably be between interior design and photography.
Okay.
And I would say it's because I love beautiful spaces. And I
Mm,
love creating beautiful spaces for people who need help visualizing and
hmm.
creating the comfortable and beautiful space that they want. Um, and plus, we as interior designer always love spending other people's money. OPP,
Yes, yes. Yes.
help them spend
What
their
better thing
money
to do? Yes. Use your
creatively.
passion. It's the best thing on the planet. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to the Interior Joy podcast. I am Charisse Holder, your home and life design strategist. I'm the owner of Transformations Home Decorating, and I'm also the author of Interior Joy. We're here to help you design the life you were created to live, because interior joy is basically a declaration. It's a declaration that you're going to be intentional about living and designing your best life. So here on this podcast, we are highlighting dynamic individuals who are actually walking on their path of purpose, not the path to purpose. They're on their path of purpose and being intentional about their connection with God, using their gifts, using their passions, and truly living out purpose filled lives. So that's what the Interior Joy podcast is all about. And our goal is just to help you live true success. And what is true success? Whatever you define it to be. So as you can see, we have our wonderful guest here, Miss Venetia Boyd. Welcome, Venetia. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Charisse. I am doing fabulous. And thank you so much for
Yes.
having me on this wonderful platform. And I commend you for you being who you are and being the entrepreneur and just, exploring and, expressing and helping other people in the way that you're doing. I'm so proud of you.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, this
Absolutely.
is just really relaxed and just sharing with our audience, just giving some information about you. I'm going to have you just sort of share a little bit of your background and what you do. But the whole point of doing this podcast is just to share with individuals, number one, that it can be done.
Mhm.
Number two, it's not supposed to be a straight line of no trials and no tribulations. That's not how God created it. And sorry, that's just not how it goes. So
Absolutely.
why don't you share who you are and what you do?
Okay. Well, as you said, name is Venetia Boyd. And I always say that I am a multifaceted, multi-passionate creative artist. I have a mission to use all of the gifts and talents that our Creator God has endowed me with. And He has endowed me with plenty and many. So my artistic abilities are just numerous, and what I've done is actually put everything that God has given me, all the gifts, all the talents, all of the abilities that I have, which are all in the creative and artistic line, under an umbrella called Beads Creative Design Enterprise. It's like I said, multifaceted, multi-passionate. I love everything that I do when I'm creating. I love creating out of nothing. I am a full-time entrepreneur, totally in the arts. And just to name a few, it will be interior design, like Interior Joy, photography, videography, graphic design. I'm a seamstress. I love to sketch and draw and paint, not only painting walls, but actually painting on canvas as well. I have that ability and talent, and just a variety of arts and crafts. And most recently, I started making earrings, as you can see them
I
here
love
that I
those.
just
I was going to say, girl, put me on the list. I want those red earrings. Now,
All
I want
right, I can do it. I can do it. So, yeah, I love
beautiful.
making something out of nothing. Absolutely.
That's awesome. I was listening to I think it was Myron Golden. I don't know if you're familiar with Myron Golden.
Yes, I know him.
He's phenomenal.
Yes,
Wow.
yes,
He's amazing.
yes.
And I was listening to an old video of him, and he was talking about how God created us, and we're not creatures. We're not how do you put it? We're not creatures or creation. We are creators.
Yes. Yes.
Created in his image, right?
Exactly.
And he created us to create.
Exactly.
And that whole line of gifts that you just laid out to share what you do, wow, it's just amazing, and it just gives me goosebumps to know that you're actually using those gifts, because that's what he expects, right?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's my tagline. You just kind of mentioned it, created to create. That's my tagline.
Oh, that's perfect. I love it. I love it. And we want our audience to feel comfortable in discovering those gifts and using those passions and not being afraid to do it. So that's awesome. You're doing all of that's why we have you here, Miss Venetia, so that they can see. Absolutely. So now, why did you become an entrepreneur specifically? As you know, I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are near and dear to my heart. But why did you become an entrepreneur?
Well, I was already in the photography world for many, many years, even as in my younger days. My father was a photographer, and not that he taught me anything about photography because I didn't grow up with my dad, but I guess it was innate. So I was always taking pictures, everywhere I went. Family members would get sick and tired of me taking pictures. But my first bout with becoming an entrepreneur was when one of the older mothers at the church that I was going to at the time, asked me to go with her to a family wedding. And she was taking her grandson with her. Grandson was probably maybe 2 years old, but he was the ring bearer. So she wanted me to take pictures of him at the wedding. He was all dressed up so cute, all in the white with the white suit and white shorts, white socks, white shoes, and a bow tie. Very cute. So I went with her, sat with them, and I took pictures specifically of him at the wedding. And of course, along with, the bride and groom. So when I presented the pictures to her, she fell in love with them, and her daughter, the little boy's mom, actually started fighting over the pictures. Oh, y'all don't have to fight over pictures. I can do 2 sets. It's not a problem. So at that point, she is the one that encouraged me to start doing it as a business.
Yes.
And that's where my first bout of entrepreneurship came about. So I took her advice and I started, opening, my business as a photographer. Beebs Photography, or Beebs Photos is the name of that underline. And that's where I started with my entrepreneurship. But then even as I began to do that, I still always drew and painted and decorated and sewing. Even when I was a child, I would be on my grandmother's floor and I would draw in something. I love to draw elephants. I love to draw landscaping. And my mother kept some of the pictures that I drew. I even drew like Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass. And, so then I started thinking about, okay, well, God has given me more than just photography. Why don't I even start with my sewing? Because I sewed all the time as well. There would be no scrap of fabric sitting around that I would have made something out of it. So that's what got me into, the interior design part of it. And basically it's like all of the arts, the gifts and talents, they still came together in some form of fashion, even in my interior design business. Being an interior designer, I know the fabrics, I know how to sew. Even though I do have a workroom that does the sewing for me when it comes to drapery, I know what's going to be right and what's going to be wrong because I know how to sew. I was making men's suits. Even at one time, I even made a pair of shoes. So it says all of the arts and crafts just came together. And again, as I was about to say, even in my entire interior design business, I could come into a home and let's say they want an art gallery for their wall. I'm creating an art gallery for their wall in their home under the interior design aspect of it. But what I could do is actually take family photographs, do some beautiful black and white pictures, and create a family wall, right there. So it's like my photography is in there, the interior design is all in there, the colors is in there, so they really, really, bump off of each other.
Yes.
And many times I have had people that will approach me and say, girl, why don't you just take one thing and just do one thing? My response is, if God wanted me to do just one thing, he would have only given me one thing to do and the ability to do just one thing.
Okay.
One thing that he gave me was the art.
Yes.
Creativity. They all fall into the line of art. So if I want to say I'm doing one thing, that one thing is art.
There you go. There you go. That's what I was about to say. It all connects, interrelated and interdependent and work together.
Exactly. And I even recall I was speaking with someone at one point in time where we were talking about a wedding. Well, even with the wedding, it's like I could do everything inside of a wedding, even though I don't do it all at once. I'm an event planner, so I pull everything together. But if I could, or if I decided to, I could do everything. It's like I could sew the wedding gown. I could even sew the reverence robe. I can do floral design. I can do the photography. I can do the videography. So it's like, and then once they get married and they decide to move into a home together, I can go into their home and do the interior design. So it just all just comes together. I said, I can do everything with that wedding except one thing. That's the officiating, because I'm not an ordained minister.
Okay.
So, but, it's like everything else, I could do it.
Wow.
So, but it's all together in the arts. Together in the arts.
That's excellent. And the fact that you are intentional about discovering those and using them honors God. Because when God entrusts these gifts to us and we leave them dormant, or we don't use them, or we belittle them, because a lot of times when we're naturally good at something, we don't value it the way it should be valued. Exactly. And so if God gives us an assignment and we don't do it, he's just going to give it to the next person, because he wants something to be done with it. So I love that. And I don't want the audience to miss the fact that a lot of the discovery it just happened organically or naturally, or just, but you were attuned to it. And so we've got to pay attention and be intentional. Oh, that's awesome.
Exactly. And then I think about, even when I was in the corporate world, I was doing interior design projects for some of my coworkers. And then, later on, the company that I was working for, I'd been there for like 19 years. They decided to start downsizing. Well, I had a choice. I had an option as to whether or not I wanted to leave the company. I wanted to be a part of the voluntary people to leave the company or stay. Well, I thought about it and I started thinking about these gifts and talents that God has given me. I was already doing interior design for my coworkers. I was already into photography. And so I decided, hey, I've been here long enough. I'm going to start doing the things that God has given me to do. And that is to be a blessing to other people with the gifts and talents that he has given me. So I decided to go ahead and leave the corporate world. And that's when I became a full-time entrepreneur. And that's been since 2005.
Oh, wow. That's the year I started my business, 2005. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I decided to do. And so, and I haven't, turned back. And right now I say I'm unemployable. It's like, I am unemployable.
Absolutely. And the key word I want the audience to remember is decision. You made a decision. You didn't wait for approval. You didn't wait for some something to fall out of the sky to say, okay, this is it. You made the decision and moved
God
forward.
blessed me all
And
the
God
way. He has
blessed.
blessed me all the way.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that everything that I do for my clients, whether it's in the photography, whether it's graphic design, whether it's interior design, whether it's creating a greeting card, because I've done that too.
Oh my goodness.
I've done funeral programs, you know, whatever it is that I end up doing for somebody else, God blesses it. And the clients absolutely love everything that I do for them. And so that lets me know too that I am in the right space. You know, I always pray over my projects before I start them as well. Excuse me. And God blesses. He blesses. And I cannot say that I have ever had a client that did not like what I end up producing for them. And I just give God the glory for all of the gifts and talents that He's given me each and every day. I really do. I just thank Him for it. I just thank Him every day for the abilities and the talents that He's given me. And it's like my goal is to be able to bring somebody else happiness and bring creativity to someone's space that they can't do for themselves. You know, my mind start clicking as soon as somebody say, I want, you know, to use you to help me do whatever.
Yes.
I start creating in my mind before we can even finish the conversation.
I love it. I love it. You know, you remind me of the virtuous woman in Proverbs 31. And I am reading a book called Because of Jesus. And as women, when we read Proverbs 31, we can become, you know, just feel as if we can't live up to the virtuous woman and what God says we are capable of doing. And what we have to remember is, as you constantly say in your conversation, God blesses it. It's God's grace. It's because of Jesus. It's because of God that you are able, that you, number one, have these things, and number two, you're able to use them. So it's not always in your strength. It's in God's strength. And that's what the virtuous woman is all about. What you're capable of doing by the grace of God, not by your own strength.
Yes. By the grace of God.
Yeah.
Because He's the supreme creator.
Yes.
He's the supreme creator.
Yes.
And, you know, it's like He knows what best fits that client, which is why I always pray before I even start a project. You know, it's like, Lord, you know what they desire. You know, and I always ask God to bless me to whatever I create that is beyond their expectations. And He does that every time as well. So
that's amazing.
Love it.
I love it.
It's all Him. It's all Him.
It's all Him. It's all Him.
Like,
you are,
me, Lord. These are my hands. These are my eyes. These are my mind. This is my mind you've given me. So use me.
Use me, Lord. That's amazing and awesome. So why did you choose? Well, I can't really say that you didn't really choose any one thing, but I guess you have like a primary. Maybe what's your primary was sort of like on the front burner, what's on the side burners, what's on the back burners, whatever you consider your front burner. Why did you choose that?
I would say it will probably be between interior design and photography. Okay. And I would say it's because I love beautiful spaces. And I love creating beautiful spaces for people who need help visualizing and creating the comfortable and beautiful space that they want. And plus, you know, we as interior designers always love spending other people's money. OPP.
Yes.
Help them spend their money creatively.
It's the best thing on the planet.
Yes. So those are my major things. I guess the major reason why the interior design is like the foremost photography is next to it, very well next to it. And then the others, it's like when they come, I'm available. I'm there, or whatever it is that somebody needs, I'm there. Which kind of reminds me too, I was at a conference once up in I think it was New Jersey or wherever it was, but anyway, it was a business conference, and we're all sitting at the table, and the host had everybody, to stand up and introduce themselves. And when I introduced myself, of course, I gave the rundown of all the things that I do. And I always say we are our best marketers, because we have to tell other people what it is that we can offer them, what it is that we do. If we don't, a closed mouth, what they say, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So after the event was over, I had so many people approach me all at one time. One person said, "Hey, I want you to help me, with creating my son is getting ready to open up a bow tie business. He wants to know how to sew bow ties." And then I had another lady say, "I want to get you to do some interior design work for me." Another lady says, "Hey, I need some photography work." Another lady says, "Hey, I need some graphic design work, some business cards made or whatever." Had I not shared what I do, those people would not have approached me. Also, had I only shared one thing, then I would have only gotten that one person that needed that particular thing.
Yes.
But because I shared all that God has given me, the multiples came.
Yes.
And all those multiples is what helped me pay my mortgage.
Love that. Love it. Now, see, this is great, because there are various reasons people start a business, right? Some people start businesses that are purely profit-focused businesses. That's not my interest. If that works for you, great. But that is not something that I can see doing long term. If it's just about money, it doesn't involve your passion, your gifts. It can even be something that is not even in line with your values. People will do that purely for money. Then you have those who will start businesses that are centered around their purpose and their passion, right? So there are various reasons to start a business. There are various ways to define your own success and what success looks like to you. And that is the reason that I wanted to start this podcast. I want people to understand that success is not only money. It includes money. The Bible talks about money. Money answers all things. Those physical things that we need in this life, in this world, in this physical world, we need money to take care of those things. But success is not only about the money. And so I want people to recognize the importance of the passion, because that gives you the longevity, and that allows you to honor God with the passions and the gifts that He's given you. Exactly. So you're like the perfect guest, Venetia. You're just the perfect guest to highlight all of these things that Interior Joy is all about, the declaration of joy with purpose. All right.
Wonderful.
So you kind of already gave us in your backstory kind of how you became an interior designer. You mentioned the photography was first, and what was it that one thing just sort of led into another? Do you feel like everything was sort of identified early in life, or did a lot of things come kind of later in life where you just sort of discovered, hey, I'm kind of good at that?
Yeah, the graphic design came later.
Okay.
Everything else was already there. I could also say maybe the videography came later, because at first I was just doing photography only. And then later on, I added videography. So I do video productions, editing, things like that. I've created slideshows for birthday parties, celebrations. I've done videos for interviews, businesses, short videos and things like that. So it's just a variety of things that I've done there. So that came along later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't preface this particular question for you, but so what do you kind of see ideally that you're for the future with all these magnificent gifts and talents? Do you feel that you just want to continue sort of operating in all of those, or is there anything that you might want to streamline into, or no, you just enjoy using all of them?
This time it's like I really enjoy using all of them because I get excited with any of them at any point in time.
Okay.
Truly excitement. And it's like so many people need so many different things. And and the world, is evolving, into a digital world. So of course I'm evolving, those types of things, may change, but the core of it will probably always be. There's a quote that I kind of live by. What is her name? Rhonda Barrett, I believe. That's her name, if I recall correctly. But basically, she's saying that when I die, I want to have used everything that you have given me, God.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much, that's not exactly all the words of it, but technically that's what the quote is saying. It's like, at the end of my journey, I want you to say, Lord, I want to say that I have used everything that you have given me.
Yes.
So, as I evolve, and I'm noticing that I have not laid down or let go any of the things that God has given me to do. If somebody walk in here today and say, hey, I need help with a bulletin, hey, I'm ready to create that bulletin for them. I'm getting ready to be at an event coming up in September, which I think I sent you an invitation for being an awardee. Well, I'm going to be making my gown. Well, it's not going to be a gown, but I'm going to be making my outfit.
Wow.
It's like,
I've seen some of your beautiful outfits before, Venetia. I have seen, and I'm excited. You amaze me. You literally amaze me. And the fact that you are still as passionate today about all of those gifts,
all of them.
Volumes. It speaks volumes. What a wonderful thing. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I definitely got to make my outfit, Look, I got my fabric yesterday.
Got your fabric yesterday. I love it. I love it. God is so good.
Yeah.
So how would you define success for yourself? How would you define success?
Defining success for myself would be, I would say, still putting others first, putting the joy, contentment, happiness, and satisfaction to others, for others first. Because when I can make somebody else happy, then I'm happy. So that's what success is for me. That whatever it is that I create, because it's going to always be for somebody else, in some form or fashion. Yeah. That they are highly pleased. So that's success for me.
I love that. I love that. That falls right in line to the two most important commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And there it is. Yeah. There it is.
So it's full circle.
Full circle. Yeah. Full circle. Excellent.
Make others happy and you'll be happy.
Yes. Love it. So what are some of the biggest hurdles you've had to overcome?
Ooh, I've had some hurdles because, entrepreneurship is not like you get that weekly and daily paycheck. And that's something that...
It's real.
I had to get used to, when I was in the corporate world, I was making good money, in the corporate world, and I got that paycheck every 2 weeks. So I didn't have no worries, bills paid and everything. I knew what was coming. I knew what I was getting. But when you're an entrepreneur, Sometimes you're working for hours and don't get paid because you're pulling things together. You eventually get paid, But I would say my biggest hurdle was the nation's economic crash, financial crisis of 2008. I will never forget it, when the rising unemployment of so many people. So that, snowball where my clients were unemployed, my potential clients unemployed. So nobody was decorating, nobody's, doing events, nobody doing photography, nobody doing nothing, but everybody being in survival mode. At that time, it was 1 out of 10 million people that had difficulty paying their mortgage.
Wow.
And ended up losing their house, their home, due to foreclosure crisis. At that time, my business, I had 2 design assistants working with me, a field designer and a secretary. And this was in my home. They all worked out of my basement. So it was during that time that, with the crisis, I ended up at the point because, clients weren't coming in, nobody was spending money. So of course that fell, on my business as well, made it a hardship. So I ended up having to release, those people that was working with me and, go on it alone at that point in time. And it was rather difficult. I had sustained myself, for the next few years with my savings that eventually ran out. And so that was a very, very difficult hurdle for me to go through. And actually, to be brutally honest, I was one of those people that ended up in that one of those 10 million people that ended up losing my home. However, God still blessed me. God allowed me to live in my home for like 3 years without the ability to fully pay my mortgage.
Wow.
And that's a testimony. And when they finally decided, okay, to release the home, they paid me in order to move out of my home. They paid me money, thousands of dollars, say, hey, we're going to give you this particular amount of money for you to give us the keys to your home. Hey.
Nothing but
God is
favor.
An awesome God. I'm telling you. So what? It's like, how can I not? After all this struggling, hey, I would be crazy had I not taken that opportunity.
Yeah.
So that was a hurdle, but God brought me through, and look how he brought me through. Who's ever heard of
Never
a mortgage company giving you money in order for you to give them the keys?
I have never heard of that. Never.
Nobody but God. So from that point in time, God put me someplace else, which is still a very beautiful place. And he's always allowed me to live in beautiful spaces. I guess I'm not satisfied otherwise, but he provided. And I'm happy. It's like I'm content, I'm happy, I'm blessed, that he still provided. And girl, you're talking about how he even provided food. I would look at my cupboard and I said, God, I got more food in my cupboard now than I did when I was working.
Crazy. Wow.
You're talking about some hurdles. He had me to jump over those hurdles and still run to the finish line. I'm telling you.
I love
that
it.
Was one of the hurdles. A second hurdle has been my health battle. As you're aware, some people may not be aware, I have had breast cancer 4 times and colon cancer once, and underwent surgeries through all of those times. And it could have been worse. I could be still in the hospital. I could be gone. My life could be gone. I could be really, really suffering, in a major way. And God, he has sustained me through that. And of course, during those times, it's like, again, shortage of funds, but he still made a way. He still made a way. So those have been the two biggest hurdles in my life that God has helped me to overcome.
Mhm.
And, so I am very, very blessed. I am super blessed.
That's
Super
beautiful.
blessed. And I give him the honor, the glory, and the praise for everything.
Man.
It could have been another way. It could have been it could have been gone another way. It could have gone another way.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Is there again, I'm just amazed by you, and I know that God's hand is on your life and his favor is all over you, and you are, my husband loves to use the Mount Rushmore example, but you would be on my Mount Rushmore of women of faith.
Oh.
Because the faith that you bestow and that I see and that I witness in your life is unfathomable, to be honest with you. And so I see God's favor in your life, and your personality, your heart, your spirit. Anyone who meets you can feel it. And so I got goosebumps right now because I just remember how we met. And you couldn't get rid of me. I wasn't going nowhere.
I'm glad you didn't.
So that could be a story for another time. But now it's been, wow, at least 10 years now.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of collaborations in the past. And so God is mighty. He's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so if we cover everything pretty much in the conversation already. How important has faith been in your life? And clearly, it's been very important, but I'll let you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally, 100%. Extremely important. Number one, because without God, I would be nothing. Without God, I would not be here. And as I said earlier, he is the supreme creator. He's an awesome creator. And I thank him every day. I have a close friend in Atlanta whose motto is, Lord, send me the people who are an assignment to my life. Send me the people who are a part of my assignment. And I pretty much have taken on that same motto from her. It's like, yes, Lord, send me the people who are a part of my assignment. Because everybody is not a part of my assignment, but God knows who is, and that's, something to keep the faith on. And I pray for my clients. When I'm in their homes, I pray for their homes. I pray with them if they are, if I feel that they are open to having prayer. I even do that. And it's like, you got to keep him there. You just got to keep him there. Otherwise, you'll be so messed up and things will not go your way, will not go right if you don't keep God first and keep him in your life. And that's why it's like, I don't separate him from my business. He's in charge of my business. He's in charge of my creativity. He's in charge of the clients that he blesses me with. So it's like, I've got to give him the glory, the honor, and the praise in order for me to continue. I want him to continue to bless me. Yeah. And in order for him to continue to bless me, I must honor him first.
Absolutely. He came to give us life, not to take our life away. He came to give us joy, overflowing in abundance. And so sometimes people think that allowing God to operate and be the Lord of their life, that they're going to miss something, or that it's going to limit them, or that he's going to take something away. No, he's giving you an amazing life that you can't even fathom.
Exactly.
More.
Because he knows more than we know.
Way more than we know.
He's got the behind the scenes and everything.
Yes. Yeah. All the seen and unseen.
Yeah. And later on, we can look back and wonder, okay, well, why didn't such and such happen? And now I see, God, why that didn't happen, because of this is what you had for me.
Yes.
Instead.
You can see it in hindsight.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. All right. Well, what encouraging advice would you give to someone who's thinking about finally kind of branching into their passion or entrepreneurship, or maybe they're just not happy in their job that they're in, or whatever it is they're doing? They're just not happy. What kind of advice would you give?
Okay. I would say first look within. Well, first honor God. First pray about it. Second is to look within. What are your gifts and talents? What makes you, happy? What makes you excited? What talents do you have? And if you're on a job, while you're thinking about what you're passionate about, and figure out what it is that you want to do, start working on that on a part-time basis and start working your way up.
Yes.
So, you got your job, you're doing what you're doing on your job, but also start your own business, even if it's just part-time. So that as you build your business part-time and it grows and grows and grows and grows, you'll get to a point where, hey, now I'm in a position I can leave my job now, if I desire to. And now you have built up something to sustain you and keep you going, keep you moving and expanding more, because you prepared yourself while you're on the job.
Yes.
And even your job itself, no doubt there's something within your job that will bless you, teach you, train you, help you with your business, whatever your business is. The skills that you have on your job, you can bring those same type of skills over to your business.
Absolutely.
And, whether it be customer service or, even finances or whatever it is, you can bring those same aspects over to, whatever it is that you're passionate about, and just start creating, that business on the side and let it grow. I would also say that no matter what it is that you make your income is, no matter how large, no matter how small it is, put away some type of savings consistently. Take something out of it and put it aside. Don't touch it. Start building a savings. I don't care if it's $5 a month, $5 a week, or whatever, $10, whatever it is, something. Start putting it away consistently. Thirdly, I would say network. Get out there and network with people. Network with other entrepreneurs. Get into some of these meetups, some of these networking events. Start getting to know people, because networking is a huge commodity when it comes to owning your own business and connecting with other people. There, you may find somebody that can help you get to where you need to go. You may find somebody that you will say look up to, and they become your mentor. It just works. Networking works.
Yes.
And lastly, I would say be mindful of your energy. And that is so that people will love to be around you and they will gravitate to you. So it's like, what if you're a person that's sometimes up, sometimes down, moody or whatever, start switching that around. Just be mindful of your energy. Be that upbeat person, smile. And so that people will want to gravitate to you.
Yes, that's
So
good.
that would be some of the things that I would encourage people to do.
I love that. I love all of those. And, sometimes we can think just because we're not saying something, that doesn't mean that people don't feel the energy of whatever you're feeling. So I love being intentional about your energy. Hey, having that interior joy, being intentional.
That's
and
it.
Letting it shine and letting it shine. I love it. I love it. Wow. So, and then with the, I have, as you know, my son just graduated from Howard University a year ago, and he's on his own now. Now my daughter, we drop her off on Monday.
Yeah.
So we are so excited about that. And so I always tell them, because now we're in that atmosphere of of people becoming entrepreneurs, and they're hearing about entrepreneurship, and they are seeing situations where it seems like everybody's becoming a millionaire, being an entrepreneur. And I just have to instill in them, to explain to them, entrepreneurship is good, but it's important that you lay that strong foundation, as you just mentioned. And you need to understand the power of making that first, getting that college degree. Okay, yeah. So there are some people who can make it happen without a college degree, but we're going to get a college degree because we need to stack the cards in our favor, right? And it's all about the experience just as much as the certificate. So if you can do it, do it. And then when you graduate, getting that job allows you to build that strong foundation, because now someone's going to pay you to learn.
Exactly.
And every job, you can't take anything for granted, whether it's Chick-fil-A, whether it's McDonald's, whether it's nonprofit, for-profit. Do not underestimate the power of those skills that you're learning. So I love that. I wanted to double back to what you said.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that is great advice. Well, I can't believe how quickly this time, I always say that, but it's true. The time just flies by.
It has.
And I am just so grateful to you for taking this time. I know how valuable your time is. I know how busy you are, and how in demand you are. So thank you for taking this time.
Thank you so much, Charisse. I greatly appreciate it. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Me too. And your story is going to definitely help others out there who are contemplating, some type of entrepreneur journey or any kind of journey, and then just understanding what true success is, just being intentional and using those gifts and honoring God.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So with that, we're going to end the podcast. And again, I thank Miss Venetia Boyd for just sharing and being transparent and opening her heart. And we pray that this information will be a blessing to you. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.